Hi Divya.
Hi.
Hello everyone. Can you just please keep your videos on?
I would like to see you guys. So please, if you can have your videos on, that would be great. And we can start with introduction. If some of you can begin talking about introducing yourself and your name and your dog's name and where are you from and those kind of information. So,
Uh,
yeah.
Divya, hi. Let me just give a quick introduction. Guys, I'm Monica from Sploot. I'm the customer success manager, and here it's Divya. And she would be taking us along to like all years. She's from All Years for Animals, and she'll be guiding us today for the workshop. Hi Divya. So let's just start off.
Yeah. So
I'm sure it would be an informative and an interactive one. So guys, just participate and keep your videos on, please.
100%. Yes. So can we begin with a short introduction? Raya, would you like to begin?
No. My name is Raya. I'm from Rajasthan and I don't have a dog. We're planning to get one.
Okay. Okay. Just putting on speaker mode. Yes. Ruchik, would you like to go next? You're on mute.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ruchi. I'm in Noida and I have little over 1.5-year-old indie female.
Okay.
And looking forward to some good insights onto being a good pet parent. Yeah.
Sure, sure. What's her name?
Her name is Polki.
Okay. Great. Awesome. Prisha, would you like to go next?
Yeah, hi. I have a Shih Tzu named Pablo, soon to turn 2 in the month of April. So few incidences have, led me to attending this. I'm very keen to know what steps can I take towards, rectifying a few things that have gone wrong. So yeah, looking forward.
Great, great. Awesome. Okay, so Monica, let me know when we can begin and then I will start sharing my screen. Monica, you're on mute. Monica, you're on mute.
Sorry. We'll just start off with the session.
Okay, great, great. So
I'll anyhow record this.
Okay, okay.
We'll send the link later on.
Okay, okay. So, okay, before we begin, I thought I'll introduce myself also. My name is Divya Sambhavani. I'm the head trainer and co-founder at All Yours for Animals. At All Yours, we mainly focus on training and socializing. It's more to do with communication. We go beyond treats, beyond tricks, and actually understand the root cause of the problem. What is bothering our dog? Through communication and training, we're able to resolve those things. So today's session, I felt that it was extremely important for every pet parent to understand what does a pack leader mean? Why should we do this? Why should we become a pack leader to our dog? And how does this help? So I'm just going to share my screen and we can take it forward from there. Yeah. I hope all of you can see the screen. If one of you could just confirm, then I can take it further. Great.
Yes.
Okay, then. Cool. So we're going to start with the first thing. Now, I would want to help you guys understand what exactly is a pack. Now, when we say pack, we mean like a pack of dogs, mainly who stay together, are in charge of each other's well-being, and they are a close-knit family. Now, they may not be interrelated. That means they may not be part of the same family, wherein like they're with the same genetics and DNA. But the idea is that they all trust each other. They form a harmonious bond with each other. And that's why they all choose to stay together based on their own creative similarities and differences. Okay. Now, who is a pack leader? Now, pack leader is not someone who is elected by all of them. There's no democracy in dogs. Pack leader is someone who they all can trust, who they are all able. If you guys can just put yourself on mute, that would be great. Yes. So a pack leader is someone who each one of them can trust with their own safety security. Someone who is making sure that the entire pack does not is protected from any kind of harm. Basically, like a parent, a mentor, a guide. You know, at every stage of life, we always require a leader, right? When it comes to when we are born, we have our parents who are taking us who are taking the lead, who are guiding us, directing us. Then we go to a school where we have our teachers. We have some type of teachers who we really like, someone who's calm, who's patient, where there are some other teachers who are a little annoying when it comes to their constant irritation and all of those things, where we don't really consider them as someone who we would look up to, right? When we look up to any leader, what are the things that we actually like about them? It's their qualities, the way they carry themselves, the way they imbibe what they say. All those things make us feel that, yes, this is the person I want to listen to, or this is the person who I can trust when I'm in trouble. That is the quality of a pack leader. That is someone who is a pack leader. Slowly we grow older, we go into our offices, our workplaces. Over there also we'll have a mentor, a guide, our bosses, who are the ones who always guide us through a certain problem. Now they actually help us understand and learn the environment, because if we start a new job or anywhere where we are, we won't know 100% about it, right? But we know someone else who would, so then we trust them with that information. And that's the same thing that dogs have. They always require some sort of leadership in the house, some sort of leadership wherein they understand what is okay, what is not okay. Okay. To get this into a better understanding, let me help you. Okay. Now you see there are two dogs here in the screen, right? On your left, you will see a dog in the forest, and on the right, you will see a dog at a balcony. Both of them have a very different body language, right? The first one you see is much calmer, is much more comfortable in his environment, whereas the second one, the husky that you see, his one ear is up, he's little suspicious of what's happening, and based on his body language you're able to sense that he's trying to figure out something that is going wrong, something that he's not understanding, right? This is why we need a leader, because on your left, what you see is your dog's natural habitat, right? Your dog can see for himself, smell for himself, hear for himself, right? A dog's nose can smell 100 million smells at once. They can see better than us, they can hear better than us. All those things, their instincts, their senses are much, much heightened than humans. Then why is it that they still need our guidance? Because if we put them in their natural habitat, they're able to survive for a long time, right? You see our stray dogs on the streets. How are they able to survive even years, like 12, 15 years, all on their own? That is because they live in packs, they have their safety security in place, and they know exactly what to do, what not to do. But when it comes to a city life, when you see the dog on your right, now he is completely confused, because it could be any of the triggers, right? Maybe the stray dogs downstairs are barking and he's wondering how his inputs can help over there, or he's just trying to wonder what is happening. So that sense of confusion is very normal in a dog's life who lives in a city or lives in an apartment, because over there is a complete question mark in their head, right? What is happening? Why are there dogs downstairs? What is a leash? What is traffic? What is a car? What is a lift? Everything is a question mark, because none of them actually have a definition in his dictionary in his head, right? He doesn't know what is okay, what is not okay. So then what happens? How do we guide him? Because if we don't, then the entire life our dog is just leading out of confusion. He doesn't know what is happening. He just tries his own ways of self-defense. Some dogs start barking, some dogs will come up with their own set of self-defense, and so on and so forth. That's why you may have seen many dogs, they start barking at the doorbell, right? Because doorbell is something which is like, what is this? Because if you think about it in your dog's perspective, every time the bell rings, the door opens, someone enters. This is absolutely an abnormal situation in a dog's head in the natural environment, because something like this doesn't exist there. But when you think about it, something that's existing in his current lifestyle, where he's in a city with you, he's trying to make sense of the whole thing. Who's come, who's not come, doorbell rings, okay, doorbell is equal to barking. That's what, if you heard of the experiment of Pavlov's dog, that's exactly what happens. Every time doorbell rings, I'm supposed to bark. Who is going to teach your dog that doorbell is not something to be suspicious about? You don't need to bark at the doorbell. There is no reason to bark. Who teaches them that? It's us as leaders, as parents. It is our responsibility to help our dog understand, because we may be saying that to him. We may be saying, okay, don't, keep quiet, enough, no need to bark, all those things. But it's like we're speaking a different language. We're not telling him in a way that he's able to listen to us well. He's looking for something else and we are giving him something else. At that moment, when he's stressed out, he doesn't require any consolation. He requires clarity. So he's trying to understand, what does this doorbell mean? And am I safe from here? So that safety, security, all those requirements come from you. Because the day you get a dog home, you're not a dog lover anymore. Now you are a dog parent. And as a parent, it is your responsibility to train your dog and help your dog understand what is okay, what is not okay, and what is expected out of him. That's what training is all about, right? So that's why they need a leader. When we move forward, okay, now I would want you to ask yourself this question, right? We all have been brought up with different leaders, whether it's our parents, whether it's mentors we've looked up to, whether it's our teachers, our bosses, and so on. So every point that I'm going to take you with, I want you to ask yourself that, would you trust a leader who is impatient, fearful, and stressed out all the time, who's dominating in his approach, all perpetually irritated, confused about whenever there's a problem, something or the other, they don't know what to do, and yes, is a pleaser? That means always talking to you in an affectionate manner, talking to someone else in an affectionate manner, and not really taking charge of the situation. So would you trust a leader like that? So if you can write in chat yes or no, then I would get an answer. I would know that what you all think about it. So in the chat box, you can just let me know whether it's a yes or no. Okay, great. Ruchi and Prisha say no. Great. So now I'm going to give you a very different approach. Would you trust a leader who is calm, confident, consistent? That means whatever he says, he does. Okay, confident enough to know what needs to be done. Calm in the most stressful situation, because stress plus stress is just more stress. But when you apply calmness, automatically the stress goes away. Trustworthy, that means you can trust that person, trust that mentor with your life or making the right decision. Understanding, understands why you feel something rather than shouting at you, always telling you what you're doing is wrong. Understands what are you trying to say and then resolve that concern for you. And yes, of course, a problem solver, most important. Where there's a problem, they're not cribbing about it, rather they are working on an active solution, right? Imagine you have two bosses at your workplace or two teachers, right? There's one teacher who is, whenever there's a problem, gets super hyper, doesn't know what to do, stress, everything comes together. Whereas one teacher is like, okay, there's a problem. Now, what do we do about it? And then actually works on finding a solution. You will only know which leader you trust better, right? So this is exactly what it is to be in a dog's perspective. Now, imagine what kind of qualities do you imbibe when you communicate or when you interact with your dog? Are you the calm, confident, consistent pack leader? Or are you the one who is all these qualities that we just spoke about, right? It's very important to understand that, because when we say that we are our dog's role model, then we need to imbibe those qualities first, right? It's unfair to ask our dogs to consider us as leaders where we don't become an example for them. When we are actually imbibing the values where we want them to behave in a certain way, first we need to do them, right? If you want your dog to be calm and stress free, first we need to imbibe those values, become a role model, and then present it in front of our dog that, look, there is a doorbell, the doorbell is rung 100 times, but look at me here, I'm standing calm and stress free, no fear. Then what do you have to fear? What is there? I'm here to take care of you. Then why do you need to be scared of something like this? Sorry. Sorry. So when your dog feels that he's actually, one second. Yeah. When your dog actually feels that he's in a much protected environment, he will be able to trust you better. I'm just going to take it forward. I think I missed out on 2 points. Assertiveness is very, very important because there's a big difference between assertiveness and authoritativeness. The idea here is that just because you're a pack leader doesn't mean you can actually be authoritative. Authoritative means that that you are enforcing some sort of authority on another person, that because I'm the pack leader you need to listen to me. That's not how it works. It's about being assertive, that when I've said something, I've said it. Listen to me because I know better, which is absolutely true, right? Because when you live in a city life, you know better. You know what the traffic means, you know what a leash means, you know all of these things, which your dog doesn't. So who gives your dog the clarity? Who tells your dog all these things? It's you. Okay. And persistence is of utmost importance. We're going to discuss it further as we go on. If any of you have any questions related to whatever is being discussed, you can always put it in the chat box and we can take it further. Okay. Now, how do you become a pack leader? This is one of the most common questions that is always asked to me. That yes, I absolutely understand that I need to be calm, I need to be confident, but how do I tell my dog that I'm calm? How do I let my dog know that, listen, I'm the pack leader, you need to trust me? My dog doesn't trust me. What do I do in those kind of situations? So in that time, I would say that the first thing that you need to imbibe is the energy that you bring in. What is the energy that you bring into the table? That means your dog is never going to ask you, have you learned this much, or what have you learned, how old are you? Nothing. They will always sense the energy. That's why you may feel that anytime a stranger enters your house, first thing your dog does is he'll go smell that person. He'll not ask the person, hey, how old are you? Hey, where are you from? What do you do? And then base his judgment. No, he's going to first pick up on that person's energy. That means, what intentions does this person come from? Is he going to harm me? Is he not going to harm me? What is he going to do? What does he smell like? Is he nervous? Is he anxious? Is he fearful? Is he happy, excited, calm, everything? That is what your dog tries to understand. So even with you, anytime you give a command, your dog will always look at your energy. What are you trying to say with? If I say, no beta, don't do it, I'm not being commanding right now, I'm being affectionate right now. If my dog is stressed out, does he need affection or does he need guidance? So if it's the latter, then I cannot give him affection that time. The energy that I'm trying to pass on to him is absolutely incorrect. That's the reason he's not listening to us. So we need to understand how we bring in the right energy when we do it. You may have noticed, if some of you do have trainers for your dog, or as a trainer, I've always been asked this question, that how does it happen that in front of a trainer my dog listens very well, but the moment the trainer leaves, my dog completely loses himself and is back to his normal naughty behavior, right? See, this happens mainly because you may notice the kind of energy that the trainer brings to the table, right? He would come in a very calm energy, in a very centered energy. That way what happens is your dog senses that, and actually your trainer becomes a role model for your dog, and he starts imbibing the same value. What happens is, your dog is never asked the trainer, right? Oh, you're a trainer, okay, show me how many certificates you have, then only I'll listen to you. Whether you studied abroad or here, on that basis I'll listen. No dog ever does that. It's the humans who do that, right? Our dog will simply sense the energy and then move forward from it. And what happens is, during the day, when we're giving the same command to our dogs, maybe we don't give it with the right energy, or maybe we have 100 things in our head that time, right? What are we going to cook later? There's so much work pending in the office, this, that, everything. And our dog can sense our impatience, our intolerance, our hesitation, and that's when they may listen or they may not listen. So the energy is of highest importance. Then comes the values that you imbibe. What are you trying to convey to your dog? What values do you follow yourself? If your dog knows you are an impatient person, if your dog knows you are a very how do you say, a very stressed out person, then he feels that he needs to take care of you, or he feels that he needs to mimic that behavior. Because if he senses your response as stress, either he takes it up as something that is of a default response where he's learned from you as his environment, or probably because he sees you stressed, he feels like he needs to take care of you, and that adds more stress to them. It's simply because they don't know what to do. They have never they go back to their head and they try to understand, okay, how do I deal with this problem? But there is no answer over there, because the environment that they're there in they have no knowledge of that. As we discussed earlier about the city life and the wildlife, the same concept applies here. Okay. And third thing is very important: when actions match your words. A lot of times, pet parents would use the conversation where they would tell their dogs that, yes, I'm here to take care of you. But your dog doesn't care about your words. He cares about your actions. So your dog will ask you, what have you done to assure that, yes, you are going to take care of me? That means if a trigger actually comes forward, what do you do in that situation? So if you're someone who picks the leash and says, no, let's go, while you're still waiting there, then your dog is saying your actions are not matching your words, because you're telling me let's go, but you yourself are standing in one place. When we actually match our actions with our words, wherein we hold on to the leash and we start walking, automatically our dogs know that, okay, they wanted me to walk, they've walked themselves, I will also walk along, I will follow suit. Because when your body gains momentum, your dog gains momentum and starts following. So this is how it happens when your action matches your words. When you give your dog the kind of reassurance that, yes, I'm here to take care of you, prove it to him that you're doing that, because then only your dog will trust you. He will not bother listening to your words of how great of a parent you are. He'll always say, prove it. Okay. Now, how does our dog see it? What is our dog's perspective when it comes to being in a pack leader, being around a pack leader? The first thing that I would want your dog to say through his body language, that, yes, I trust this leader with making a sound decision, even over my own instincts. Because if he sees another dog on the road, he sees chapati kept on the road for other dogs, he knows he's not supposed to take it because you have asked him not to do it. Or he knows he's not supposed to attack the other dogs because you have asked him not to do it, even though his instincts say differently. So that is what trust is all about. Second thing your dog should say, that he is able to keep me safe and secure, just like he assures. Same way that we spoke earlier about actions meeting words. And third, saying, I respect and love him, that's why I listen, right? First thing your dog is going to ask you, why should I listen to you? Who are you that I should listen to you and not the other way around? You should listen to me. So then you should let your dog know that, because I know better, I would want you to respect, love, and then hence listen. And of course, it's a mutual bond. Only when you respect and love your dog and trust him, that's when he's going to do the same. Listening is always a two-way communication. When you listen to your dog, your dog learns to listen to you. So this way, for example, if your dog is barking at another dog on the street, you are listening to your dog, that, yes, my dog gets triggered by another dog. That's you listening. How do I make sure that my dog listens to me? Where you're asking him not to bark at another dog. That's where your training comes in. Then as a leader, I'm asking you, as a parent, I'm asking you to not bark at that dog. I want you to ignore the dog and walk away. Because you cannot control the outside environment, right? There are going to be 100 dogs on the road. You can't always take a side route. You can't always ask people to change the way they walk or ask people to not do something. It's always teaching our own child not to do something or teaching our own child to ignore, because we cannot change or control any other person. Okay. Now, I thought we'll add some sort of exciting activity in the middle, because if I keep talking and it's a presentation, it gets very boring. So I would want each one of you to close your eyes, and we're going to actually go for a pack walk. Okay. So if I'm going to give you a minute to just settle down, I'm just going to stop sharing. Yeah. So if each one of you could just close your eyes And I'm going to take you all on a pack walk, and you can get as imaginative as possible, and then we'll see how that goes. Okay. So now imagine that you're in a deep forest. Okay, you're walking with your pack of dogs. You're actually a dog in your imagination right now, and you're in a pack. Okay, there's like a triangle that's been formed, and at the right beginning of the triangle, there is your pack leader, someone you trust, someone you look up to, someone who knows what's best for the pack. And yes, you put your 100% trust into that pack leader, that he's going to take me the right way. Okay, you and your other pack members, you're all walking in harmony. Probably you're going for a hunt, you're going for a walk, either you're going back home, you're just walking in harmony. Okay, and now suddenly you hear some sound from the bush, and of course it frightens all of you, right? Because it could be your enemy, it could be anybody, right? Now imagine if that sound creates such an impact with your pack that everyone goes crazy, right? You see a dog next to you who's constantly barking. You will see another dog who's running in circles. You will see your third pack member who is howling in the air, and you yourself are very confused as to what to do. Whether should I go and chase the sound, whether I should listen to my pack leader, whether I should follow my pack members, what do I do? And your pack leader is also barking at all the other dogs, asking them to silence and not bark or not react, but every dog is just going crazy in his own way, right? And what happens here, whatever the sound was from the bush keeps getting closer, 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 and ultimately it was an enemy, and that enemy could come and attack, and then your entire pack falls into trouble, because there was no harmony, there was no unity, and everyone was just doing their own thing using their own brains, and hence everyone got hurt in this process. Now imagine a second type of walk where you all are continuing to walk, and this time again there is a sound from the bush. But instead of everyone reacting in their own way, everyone freezes. The pack members freeze and they all look at the pack leader. What do we do? That one question comes in everybody's head. Now, in that situation, it's the pack leader who takes up the lead here, because he knows what's best for the pack. He knows the way very well. He knows that he's been given a position for a reason, to make sure everyone is safe and sound. So what does he do? He gives everyone the stay command. He freezes everybody where they are and goes and inspects on the sound. And he feels that he goes there and he sees and he checks in that if it's someone who's an enemy, he's going to howl from there, and everyone's going to follow that howl, come and then attack the enemy to save everyone, the pack and the pack leader. But he goes there and he realizes it's actually just like an insect making a sound. So he nips it in the bud, comes back to the pack, releases everybody, and then all of them walk together. All of you walk together in harmony and continue with your hunting. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a second, and then you can open your eyes and come back to the meeting. Okay. And now if some of you could unmute and share your experience from scenario 1 and scenario 2, which one did you prefer as a dog?
Definitely the second one.
Right.
More calmer energies.
Correct.
As in someone who's finding a solution rather than creating a problem.
Correct. Great. Okay. What about anyone else would like to share their experience?
Yeah, I would agree with Prisha. Definitely the second one, because as a pack member, one is looking at the leader to take the first step and then basically lead the pack. So,
Correct.
Correct. That's what we were doing.
Yes. So the idea here that I wanted to convey is that the pack leader doesn't mean that you're like this masculine pooch person who's like all about punishment and choke collars and all of that. No, pack leader means that you're a parent to your dog. That means your role is of guidance and direction. When you entail that trust in you from your dog, automatically things shift. So now we are going to start working on how do you imbibe this energy. I'm sure this is the first question that comes up in your head right now. What do we do? to make sure that our dog knows that yes, we are the pack leaders, we are here for you. Okay, so how do we imbibe it in our daily life? I have been able to put this into 4 points. We're going to discuss it in detail. But the first point is patience, persistence, and practice. These are the 3 P's that I want you to remember in any stage of raising a dog. You need to be patient, persistent, and practice what you preach. Second thing is the 3 C's: calmness, confidence, and consistency. These 3 things are very important, whether you're teaching your dog a command, whether you're asking your dog to do something in the most crucial situation. These 3 things play a very important role: calmness, confidence, and consistency. Third thing is love, respect, and trust. This needs to be mutual, because only when you offer love, respect, and trust unconditionally, you're going to get the same from your dog. And lastly, as I said, not authoritative, but assertive. Okay, so we're going to take it point by point. The first thing that I want to cover is patience, persistence, and practice. Okay, so first thing is be patient with your dog. Okay, that means that if your dog is struggling with something, going through something, if your dog is impatient, doesn't have impulse control, you become the patient one. Because if you are the impatient one, then what is the difference between you and your dog, right? It's easy for him to be the pack leader because he's able to take charge of his emotions, and we are just an influencing of the environment, right? Second thing is recognize the reasons. Sit with your dog or sit by yourself and understand what is your dog trying to say. Why is he trying to do it? How can you help him? When these kind of things come in, then you don't need to look for a quick fix that, oh, my dog is eating something from the road, let me put a muzzle on him. Oh, my dog is not walking properly, let me put a different type of choker on him or a different type of harness on him. But that's not how it works. The idea is that your dog probably doesn't even know how to walk on a leash. Maybe that's why he's not walking the right way. So the idea here is that you need to teach him how to walk. You need to teach him to not eat garbage from the street. Only then will he know, right? Nobody told him what to do when a guest enters. So of course your dog is going to use his puppy brains and come up with his own quirky way to greet a guest. That's why it would be happening. And again, the third thing, very important, is working out that part with them. That means, yes, if you've identified the problem, now how can you help your dog understand that this is something that I don't want you to do? This is what else I want you to do. That means teaching them idle behavior. And in order to teach idle behavior, first you need to rectify, you need to correct the behavior that they're already facing. Not with treats, not with redirection, and certainly not with punishment. Because those things are not something that dogs use. You will never see a mother dog using a treat as a redirection tool or using a toy as a redirection tool to pull their dog away from a certain situation. Neither will you see them using a choke collar and choking their child, or using a stick and beating their child, or giving the puppy a timeout. Those things do not work in the dog world. These are all human tactics to get our dog to be tamed. But here, our intention is not to tame him. Our intention is to train him. When you train him, that means you're just helping him understand the difference between what is desirable and what is undesirable. And then you expect your dog to listen to you because they trust you. So everything is connected, provided you're able to first listen to him. Listening solves everything. Okay. Then comes your calmness, confidence, and consistency. Always learn to listen. Only when you're calm will you listen to a person in front of you, will you listen to your dog. If you're stressed out, you're going to come up with your own assumptions, and you're going to perpetually be stressed out because I don't know what's happening, why is my dog behaving this way, and everything. You're just stressed out as much as your dog is stressed. So stress plus stress is more stress. You need to calm down, center yourself, listen to your dog, and see how to take it further. Okay. Even when it comes to being consistent with our practice, sometimes a lot of people tell me, no, my dog never listens. Yes, your dog will not listen if you're not persistent enough, if you're not consistent enough. If you help your dog understand in a language he learns best, he knows best, then why will he not want to listen to you? There's definitely a reason that he either doesn't want to listen, maybe he doesn't understand what you're saying, or maybe he's saying something else to you. solve that problem for him, and then continue practicing. Sometimes dogs just throw a tantrum. No, I don't want to sit right now. No, I don't want to do this. Then you know what to do. Then you know that the only way to end the tantrum is to be consistent with your practice. Be persistent. You know how many times we tell our dogs that don't do something, they'll still go and do that, or they still never let go of something that we want them to let go. That is persistence, not stubbornness. A lot of people tell me my dog is stubborn. I say, no, your dog is persistent, because when he wants something, he'll make sure that he'll get that. It's the same thing we learn best from our animals. If you're training animals, you need to become that animal. You can't train a cat how a dog trains a dog. You need to train a dog how one dog trains another dog. So you learn from them and use the same values to train them. You see how persistent your dog is. You need to be as persistent when you're imbibing the commands. So then he knows that, yes, she is a persistent person. She is a consistent pack leader. I would want to listen to her. I respect this person. And that's how the respect is built. If you're someone who gives in too easily, your dog is like, nah, I don't trust this person, because look how easily they gave up. They think of every single thing when it comes to the way we behave, the way we function with them. And third thing is being aware of our own energy. Are we confident? Are we not? Are we intolerant? Are we not? Are we impatient? Are we not? All these things your dog notices. He knows exactly how much time will it take for you to listen or not listen. Like if I give you an example, when I teach dogs the sit command, I always help the pet parents understand that this is a great command to use in a lift. That means if you live on the 5th floor, you want your dog to be seated in the lift, patiently waiting while the ground floor comes. Because in case if the lift opens at every floor, your dog knows not to jump out. At the same time, when people enter the lift, he doesn't have to necessarily jump on the people also to smell them. Now, what happens is a lot of dogs are extra smart. They know exactly how much time it takes from the 5th floor to the ground floor. So then they are not going to listen to the command till they reach the ground floor. And they know now the door is going to be open and now I get to go. So they found a loophole in the command. In this situation, I always tell the parents, don't leave the lift till they don't sit. Don't leave the lift. So then they know that the only way to come out and start the walk is only when they sit and listen. That means you are persistent and you are consistent with your command. That every single time we go in a lift, you need to sit. Because today you live on the 5th floor. Tomorrow you take your dog to your friend's house who lives on the 30th floor. Then what happens, right? So you're always preparing your dog for the future. And it's not always that you're going to keep your dog on a leash, right? At some point, you are going to let go of the leash, right? Leash is just a tool to teach your dog how to walk. It's not something that you're going to control lifelong. So imagine tomorrow you don't have the leash. Then what happens? Then your dog is just going to walk out at every floor, right? Unless you've taught your dog that he needs to sit in a lift, and then you can follow it with a stay. And then you know that your dog is not going to leave, even if there is no leash. That's the kind of training that we look at. Now we come to love, respect, and trust. I would say become the leader your pack can bank on. Okay, very important. You become the leader that you would like to look up to, right? That's very important. And someone where you know that, yes, my pack members are going to can unconditionally trust me, because they know exactly that I know what to do, what not to do. When that happens, like how when we go out with our parents, we trust them unconditionally because we know we can bank on them for our safety. That's the same kind of assurance we need to give our dogs. And a lot of times I would say that we forget on trusting ourselves to be that pack leader. That are we capable enough to lead our dogs? Of course, why not? When our dog senses that we only don't trust ourselves, then how do you expect him to trust us? So first work on building that trust with yourself, that yes, I am a confident pack leader. Yes, I am someone who knows what is best for my dog. My intentions are pure, and I know what would make my dog the happiest and the calmest. So then when you live with that thought, when you start with that thought, automatically your dog can sense that and imbibes it. Okay. And third thing is unconditional and mutual love and respect. If you don't love, respect, and trust your dog will never love, respect, and trust you. That is very important. That's why when we start with our training program also with puppies, this is my end goal. My main goal during the entire program: love, respect, and trust. Because only when you do these three things would you want to leave them off leash, because you know you love them, you respect them with their freedom, and you trust them that they will listen to your commands. Same thing when your dog actually listens to your command, he trusts you that you know better, he respects you, that's why he's listening, and of course he loves you. So all these three things are interrelated with each other. And the last thing is not authoritative but assertive. As a pack leader, when I give my dog a command, I would want him to listen, full stop. That means it's not like, okay, he listens great at home but doesn't listen outside. Why? Maybe because there are distractions. Okay, then I will practice in distractions so that I know that my dog learns to listen anytime, anywhere. When there is a distraction, I would want my dog to listen more than anything. So then I will practice double outside than in the house. So then I know that yes, no matter what, my dog listens. Second thing is that does my dog listen only when I have a treat in my hand, or does he listen because it's me? That is another very important thing. Because if you always train your dog with treats, he's going to look at you and he's going to say, do you have a treat? No, you don't. Okay, I'm not listening. Right? Then what is the point? There's no point of teaching the command. And even when you train with a treat, what are you telling your dog? Okay, if you sit, I give you a treat. Then your dog feels that, okay, everything is a game, everything is a trick. But that's not what it is, right? In that crucial moment in the lift, when you want him to sit, you're asking him to relax. So all these values transfer from you to your dog. You know how we say that parents are the ones who teach us manners, teach us the way of living, basic life skills. That is what training is. So that always flows from you to your child. Even that's why, even at all years, when we train, we directly train the parents to train the dog. Because in that case, what happens is your dog learns to listen to you. Otherwise, he'll listen to a trainer, and 3 months later, when we are out of the picture, he'll again go back to his old self because the leader that he was trusting is not in the picture anymore. Okay, so it's very important that you believe in yourself with your mind, body, and soul, and that's when your dog learns to listen. And second thing is, be the leader you wish to follow. Ask yourself one question: would you trust yourself as a leader? Do you have these qualities? Even if you do imbibe these qualities, are you able to trust yourself if you were your dog? And you will get the answer yourself. And last thing is that always choose a side. You cannot be a leader one day and next day be a follower. That means you have rules in the house, but when your dog goes out for a walk, you let him lead you where he's just walking you. A lot of times we joke around and we say, right, it's our dogs who are walking us and not the other way around. But sometimes we need to take ourselves seriously, because then what happens is our dogs cannot sense when there's a car coming. Our dog cannot sense when there are kids who may not be okay with dogs. So then what happens? Who tells them that what do you need to do in that crucial situation? It's us. So you need to be a leader at every stage, at every phase of a dog's life, and not just at home or not just in a certain situation. And you can't be both, or you can't be either. You can always, like, keep interchanging. You can only either be a leader or be a follower. The choice is yours. Okay. And lastly, the end goal that we are focusing on with our dog. Once we are imbibing this, it's a lifelong process. It's not something that I do for 3 months and then get done with it. The lifelong process, because our end goal here is freedom and responsibility. We give our dogs the freedom. We tell them, yes, you can do whatever you want to do, provided you are responsible enough to know what is being taught to you, what is okay, what is not okay. You listen to us at the right time. And then we know that freedom is something that is not a rare thing for you. Freedom can be given anytime. Tomorrow I take my dog to the beach. I know I can let him off leash and he can run and play because he listens to my commands. That's responsibility. He comes back when he's called. That is responsibility. Those are not control. Those are not treat redirections. Those are genuine responsibility that he has towards the pack leader, right? Imagine our parents had to keep giving us treats every time we come back. Then it's all about bribing. Here, you're teaching your dog the right values and you expect him to listen. Okay. So this brings us to the end of the session. I would like to know if there are any questions from anybody. Be happy to take them.
Any more questions, guys?
Yeah. Oh, I think actually Prisha wants to go first, I think.
You can go ahead, no problem. You can start. Yeah, any one of you could go, no problem. Prisha, you want to go?
Okay, great. So, Divya, thanks for the session. Sorry, I missed like the first 15-20 minutes of it. But basically, I have a German Shepherd who's like around 1.5 years old now. And he underwent like a surgery recently, the FHO surgery, where basically like he had like his hip joint removed.
Okay.
So post recovery, like there was a lot of like changes in his behavior, like post the surgery that happened, like suddenly, right? Like otherwise he was like, he used to let me walk him. He used to let like others walk him and stuff. He was like much more playful. Post the surgery, it seems like he has become like very anxious, very protective of certain things, doesn't sleep with us anymore, sleeps in like one corner of the house. It's been like almost 3 months post the surgery. He doesn't let anyone except my brother walk him, and he tries to like take the lead in everything. We've tried like 3-4 walkers, we've tried like 2-3 trainers, but he just does not listen to them, anyone except for like my brother, like especially when it comes to walking. Right, when it's like commands and all, he then also like listens to the rest of us and like respects. But like he just suddenly gets like, he has like these mood swings where he'll suddenly get like really angry, or he'll just not let go of the leash, or he like, if he doesn't want to walk, he just doesn't want to walk. It's like one of those things. So how do we like try to understand better like what he's going through? Because a lot of times it's like, you know, like we are not understanding what he's able to like communicate to us as well in these situations. Also, like we are not able to understand where is this behavior stemming from.
Correct. So here, what is your puppy's name?
Zorro.
Okay. So here with Zorro, we need to understand that we need to go beyond training. It is more about communication. And in communication also giving more importance to listening. What is Zorro trying to say right now through his behavior? Is he trying to say things like, I'm not sure what is happening? See, what happens even in cases like surgeries, operations, neutering, and everything that we do with our dogs, sometimes we end up forgetting letting them know even the minutest of the details that is going to happen, right from the time that he's picked up from the house to the time when he's brought back. Otherwise, if you think from his perspective, a lot of times what dogs go through is that they're picked up from their house and then suddenly they're in a completely a new space where they would be aware of the hospital, but still, it's like a different space for them, and they don't know what's happening and everything, and they wake up with a little bit of a pain because the anesthesia would have put them to sleep. So there are so many questions that your dog has, that our dogs have, that go unanswered in certain things, which leads to a lot of behavioral concerns about, there's lack of trust. Then your dog doesn't know whether to trust you or not, what to do. There's unpredictability in the environment. Previously everything was predictable, he would know what is going to happen, but here with a probably situation like this, again the unpredictability set in. And when there is unpredictability in the environment, there is automatic unpredictability in his behavior, because the environment directly influences behavior. So these things need to be looked upon, and basically you need to speak to Zorro to understand what is he trying to say through his behavior. How would he like things to be done? That means, does he want us to become a little more understanding of his behavior? Does he want some more sort of reassurance from us that yes, we are going to keep you safe and sound no matter what? Because probably he might be feeling that, oh, now it's his responsibility. The whole time earlier his guard was down, now suddenly his guard has gone extra high, considering the surgery or any of the reasons that it could be. From whatever you're telling me, I'm able to give you this information, but then we need to give him that assurance that there is nothing that has changed. It was just a minor surgery. This is what happened. This is why it was required. And now let's move forward from it. When you do that active communication and give him the assurance through your actions less than your words, automatically you will see a much different Zorro. That means that when he feels that something has changed in his life massively, I want you to respond in a way that you're saying nothing has changed, everything is still the same. So when you start behaving the same way and not given to his notions, given to his preconceived notions of what he's thinking, automatically he'll realize that, okay, it is normal because that's what their actions are telling me. Okay.
So how do we address things like how he's just become like really aggressive with like other dogs, He doesn't like anyone except our presence, like, you know, in the house, or like, you know, even if it's in a cafe or something, if someone comes to serve us, he gets like extra protective about and territorial about things now. Like
Correct.
these kinds of, you know, like extreme like territorialism or aggression is like kind of like gone up.
Correct.
And even like, you know, just the way he is in external environments with like other dogs or other humans, it's become like much more non-manageable for us as well. So it was just, especially like, you know, not accepting other trainers, walkers, these kinds of things. Like 3 or 4 of them have changed already, so we were just like not too sure of how to progress with this also.
Correct. See, even when you talk about, things like resource guarding, for example, food aggression, sleep aggression, how we talk about in other dogs, or in your case, how you said about, growling in situations like this, it's less to do with aggression and more to do with lack of trust. Because your dog doesn't trust other people around. That's why he's just reacting out of self defense. We need to help him understand that there is no reason for him to defend himself or us, because we are in charge of safety security. Maybe he's taken up on his own shoulders because he felt there was a void of it in the house. When that void is there, he feels he needs to somehow replace it and somehow fill it in. So through training, we will be able to give him that kind of assurance that yes, look, we are there. At the same time, correct his behavior, because right now what he's trying to do is he's just trying to be a dog, right? We can't stop him from being a dog, but we can help him understand that you don't need to react this way. So we need to tweak his reactions, and that will come in through training. So I would say that you take in a consultation, we can focus on these core issues and then see how to go forward with it.
Got it. Thanks.
No problem.
Deepshika, just to give you an insight, like what you said, the same thing, something similar was happening with me also. Like I would see stray dogs, I would panic myself, but then I realized that I shouldn't panic. I should be calm myself. I saw a difference in Pablo's behavior also, because I would see a stray dog coming, I would quickly just pick him up, and many people corrected what to do.
I walk with a stick because I'm like, I don't know how to. And now there are like 2 of us who take him on a walk. It's not one single person, because it's just like we don't know how to manage him in that situation.
Yeah.
In your case, you can't pick him up.
Yeah.
That's why small dogs. Yeah, that's why small dogs get away with a lot of things, because it's easy for us to just scoop them up. But even though their brain size is the same, so you see a Chihuahua and you see a Great Dane, their brain size is the same. So it's just that the smaller dogs get away with a lot of things because you can't pick up a Great Dane. So that's the thing.
Yeah, and like the others feel like much more scared with his presence and barking anyway. So you get like a bit like conscious of that also, right? Like his impact on others around.
Yes.
I condition myself that you relax, you calm down, you handle the string, rather than him taking lead and barking and growling. So a similar question to Deepshika. So I also, Pablo went through a few incidences where a lab bit him. He's always been, a friendly dog, like friendly, and I would say over friendly, meeting big, small, any breed, very, very nicely. So this lab off leash came and bit him. Luckily, it wasn't that deep, but that incident has traumatized him, because then he had to go to the vet, 3 injections of rabies, and just after he had these 3 injections, he had another attack of amoebiasis. So again, injections, more injections. So this whole incident has changed him completely. Like he would refuse to go to the vet. At us also at home, there was like growling and snapping happening, like where he's bitten me once or twice, like where I was trying to give him medicine. So these incidences, has changed his personality completely. Again, training, I would say a lot of difference has we are addressing his issues around training. But still, I would say he does have his ways.
I'm not able to hear you clearly, Prisha. If you can just, I think, increase the volume or something. Yeah.
Now is it any better?
Yeah, little better. Yeah.
Yeah, so we do have our days, where he sees big breeds and he just goes all out and he just doesn't listen. So we do, build our momentum, we walk ahead, so we don't give him time to think and react. But yeah, there are times where especially this one dog in the building also, he'll go all out there and not stop. So as of now, we are just avoiding it that, okay, we know that dog comes down at this time, we'll go a little earlier or later. But like, what else can we do about this?
Correct. That's a quick fix. See, we need to teach our dog to either ignore or tolerate, right? We cannot tell him to make peace with that dog. Fair enough. He doesn't like another dog. He doesn't like big breeds. Nobody's forcing him. But
Okay.
you need to learn to ignore. That's what we would teach our own kids also, right? Now, if I give you an example, now imagine if there is a mother who is petrified of dogs, and she's taking her child out and they're both going for a walk, right? Since we're all pet parents, we know how it is when some people are afraid of dogs, right? How they respond. So what you would see in that situation is that the moment she sees a dog, the first thing her reaction is like that. And before she can even tell anything to her child, what is the first thing she'll do? She'll pull the child behind like this, right? Now the child is very young. He's not born with fear. But in his mind, what does he think? Oh, I'm supposed to back off and get scared every time I see a dog, because when she's holding the hand, she's sending fear through her body vibration to the child. So even when next time the child is walking on his own, he's going to walk like this, every time he sees a dog, because that is a taught behavior to him. So same thing with our dogs. Whatever we teach them through a leash is just a teaching and a guiding tool. Whatever we teach them on the leash, that is what they're going to follow. Even if he's scared, I would still expect him to get over that fear, because there is nothing to be afraid about. I understand if it's something massive, which is scaring me also, which is scaring him also, because it's genuinely a threatening situation. But here, it is just another pet dog on the street who's not going to do anything to him. So when I am sure that, yes, nothing is going to happen, I am there, then my dog automatically gets that confidence from me. So when I walk him, I need to walk him in a certain way. I cannot wrap the leash around me or behave scared or anything, but actually give him that assurance that, yes, we're going together and trust me with this. You see how I'm walking? Look at me. I'm your role model. Observe my behavior and continue. That's when you will see a difference in him.
So any specific command, like, when he's started to growl or bark at the dog, any specific command? Like right now, what I'm doing is, I continuously, I'm encouraging him and motivating him that come. And, we just pick up speed and then we've gone ahead. So any specific command? Because with some dogs specifically, he just won't listen. Like
What
he's
does he
got
do?
these fixed dogs.
Growl.
He'll go all out there barking, and we are telling him stop it. So with certain dogs, which maybe he's not met earlier, it will work. The stop it or the still works. But with certain dogs, fixed, certain these 3-4 dogs, he'll just not listen. Just even for that matter, even if the dog is not in sight, if he's just sniffed or got the smell of the dog, he'll go all out there.
Correct.
And he'll want to, look, where is the dog? I want to attack.
Correct. So when Pablo is barking like this, bark, 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 like you said, imagine if he had to talk, if he had a human translation, if you could make it. What do you think he's trying to say when he does the bark, 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 like in words, if you had to communicate? There's no right or wrong. Just say what you feel like.
From his body language, I feel he's just wanting to attack. Like, where is the dog? I want to just attack.
He would, so attacking would be like, does he go in the dog's direction or does he just bark from where?
Yes. No. He will go in the dog's direction. He'll lunge.
Okay. So usually when dogs are barking, it's more of a loud tone, right? Who's there? I want to see you come. This, like that, right? Barking is something that we can equivalent to shouting, right? When your dog is really angry and he means business, he will never bark, he'll growl, because dogs usually growl when they're angry. So here it's more of a reaction that Pablo's giving than a response. So in this situation, we need to help Pablo understand that there is no reason for him to do that, because dogs usually bark due to 4 reasons. And they're nervous, anxious, excited, or suspicious. So here Pablo could have a combination of suspicion and stress, and we need to help him understand that there is no reason to be stressed out or to be suspicious. Those dogs need to be ignored. And in that time, what happens is, if you talk to him or if you say stop it and those kind of things, you're just responding to his reaction, right? Even we might say stop it in a loud tone, right? So what is the difference between his barking and my shouting? Technically, it's the same thing. It'll be like how 2 dogs are barking, right? And we are barking towards the same thing. He doesn't know we are barking at him. He just feels that we are barking, we are following his cue, and everyone, my pack is also barking, we all supposed to bark at him. So I would suggest that we can do a session with him wherein we help him understand the correction technique. So if your child is stressed out, if your child is suspicious of something which there is no reason to be suspicious about, then you will always correct your child, right? You will tell him, don't do this, do that instead. So that is what he's looking for. He's not looking for consolation, he's not looking for attention, he's definitely not looking for affection. He's looking for a solution. That solution needs to be provided by you as a pet parent. Okay, so I
Okay.
wouldn't be able to explain to you in such a
Right, right.
but yes, I will be able to help you in a personalized session where I understand what
Right.
Pablo is trying to say.
And these are the same dogs where, as a puppy, he's wanted to meet these dogs, but because, one dog has snapped at him, so that is stuck in his head that, he snapped at me. After that, he's always barking at that dog. Or, like, for example, there's this retriever he's always wanted to meet, but the owners, as in the handlers, didn't, allow the retriever to meet then because vaccinations were not done, etc. So he's always been barking at these dogs ever since
Right.
these, few
Exactly. So
incidences.
he reacts from suspicion, he reacts from stress. We need to change that reaction and we need to help him
Okay.
understand what is the ideal response. See, no one taught him how
Okay.
to respond to another dog. So it's not his fault also
Right.
he came up with his own quirky response, right? We need to correct that behavior and we need to teach him the ideal response. That's how it goes.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Problem. Ruchi, you have a question?
Yes. So, well, this is in continuation to what Prisha and Dikshika have already raised. So my indie female, I've observed that when we are walking, she's pretty okay with other dogs on the leash, but she's always on a lookout for the fellow streeties, So, and because we are in a kind of an open society, it's not, it's like a larger society. So there are segments of pack dogs like there are pockets of pack dogs in different locations. And now she knows that, okay, this is where I'm going to find the particular pack. So she's when she walks, she's pretty much on a lookout, and when she spots any of them, she growls, she lunges, she wants to basically reach out to them for whatever joy, we don't know. So quite often what I try to do is that I change my route. Now, since you already mentioned that it might translate as nervousness, so I want to check that, do you think that that could be instilling a sense of fear in her, because we change the route and want to distract from all the the other pack that is present. So some of the pack guys are pretty okay because they also see other people on other dogs on leash, so they are not bothered even when we cross them. But there could be a possibility when where one of them could come and either
Yeah.
bite her from the back or whatever. So just to avoid that situation, what I try to do is either change the route or just kind of hold her tight and walk through calmly, assertively, but just walk through them. So,
Mhm.
what is it that I can just keep in mind to address this further? And this is very specific to, this is something that I've observed that it's very specific to dogs on the street. It's
Mhm.
not to the, and like uh, similar indie dog. Like
Hmm.
she'll not react to a retriever, she'll not react to a pug, she'll not. Somehow, I don't know if it's a genetic thing, I don't know if it's something that you've come across as a
Hmm.
issue with other indies as well. But yeah, please, please
Okay.
share your.
Does she want to go smell them or does she want to go like attack them sort of thing? Like what do you feel? Like is she just inquisitive about their smell, just wants to know about them, or how?
So there are fellow male street dogs, like couple of them who actually made friends with her. Like they've the when she growls, they've approached her and calmly they've kind of met and they have made friends with each other.
Hmm.
but she's completely against female indies. Like the moment she sees a female indie, she just wants to reach out to them. Now I don't know whether if I leave her, will it end up in a quarrel or will it end up in a usual power play, like one will surrender and the other will, you know. So, but one doesn't want to take that chance.
Correct. Yeah. Does
It's a
she
bit
raise her
difficult.
leg and pee?
No.
Okay. Okay. Have you noticed those things about her? Like when she'll see another pool of pee, she'll want to pee over that pee. Do you sense these
Sometimes,
coming from
yes,
her?
sometimes she does. Uh, Sometimes she pees on the pee, or if she'll smell the poop and then around it she'll pee.
Do you feel like
So
she's trying to raise her leg and pee, or like she just squats and pees like a normal female dog?
peeing is normal, I think.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because usually what happens is if she feels the need to guard or she feels the need to do that, a lot of female indies tend to do that. They'll raise their leg and pee, even though they're not a male dog as such. Their body is not allowing it. But because in their mind they feel that that is something I need to do for my protection, they tend to raise their leg and pee. That's just their way of thinking. That's why I asked. But here with your dog, I feel that it's more about helping her understand that you need to ignore those dogs and walk away. If she's a
Yeah.
breedist where she feels that she has to do those with indies and she needs to not do it with retrievers or with any other breed dogs, see, that's her thought process. You want to
Yeah.
correct your child and help her understand that no, for all dogs, I want you to feel this way. So then she'll say, Acha,
Yeah.
okay, all dogs, okay, fine, fair enough. That is the kind of conversation you want to build. Otherwise, here what is happening is
Mm.
she's coming up with her own theory that these dogs I will do, these dogs I will not do. Basically, she's making up her own rules, right? We need to help her understand that there is some sort of code of conduct, because not always can I guard you with those dogs. And especially if you also go charging at them, then they will definitely come and charge at you, and then
Yeah.
I will be in a fix, right? Imagine if it would be a human child, and every time your human child sees this particular 3 4 people start screaming
Yeah.
that, hey, who's
Mm.
this, and then like shouting and all of that, you'll always tell your child, "No, why are you shouting? What's there to shout at these particular people?" So you will ask her to not
Yeah.
do it. So same way,
Mm.
rather than pacing forward or rather than changing the route, these could be quick fixes, right? In your new route also dogs will come, then what would you do? Then you will take
Yeah.
another route, then over there also dogs will come, then what would you do? Take a third route, and this will keep going on, but your dog is going to live a good life of 12 15 years. So how long are you going to continue that for, right?
Mm.
Instead,
Mm.
I would say that go for a way to help your dog understand that even if there are 100 stray dogs here, I will still want you to ignore and walk away, because that's how she learns it and that's how she mimics your behavior. She follows that and does. So I would say continue with this practice where you're doing it at the same time when you're telling her those dogs are going to do nothing, you need to ignore, then this is fine, because then those dogs are actually not doing anything. Yes, but if those dogs are genuinely coming towards her and she's just being defensive, which is a normal behavior from her end, because she's not
Yeah.
sure whether you're going to do something about it or not, then you need to handle the stray dogs. Then you
Yeah.
won't be able to
No,
handle
so
her.
because so because this is more of a familiar setup now, she's the so imagine if there are 5 of them sleeping by the side of the road
Hmm,
during the evening walk,
hmm,
and we're crossing her, and I know that Polki will now want to go and try to get their attention primarily.
yeah.
Many a times it's that because these guys are pretty used to dogs walking on the leash,
Hmm,
but
hmm,
she'll growl in a way to get attention, and
hmm,
then I tell her that basically there's some communication which says that there is no problem, let's just continue walking. I mean,
yeah.
that kind of a thing. So primarily one has to just keep doing that, right?
I would want, if she's the one who initiates it, then she
Hmm.
needs the correction, not the other
Yeah.
dogs, right? The other dogs are like
Yeah.
okay with her. So she
Yes.
needs to be taught what is ideal behavior, right?
Hmm.
And that's when comes in. So I would say that we can do a leash walking session together where I'll teach you how to help her understand what to do in a walk, how to behave on a walk, and then you can expect her that even when she's without a leash, she'll behave the same way. because I can guarantee and tell you that your dog will behave the same way on off leash the way he behaves on a leash, because that is what we are teaching. See, whether it's a pseudo training or we're genuinely training, our dog learns everything from their environment, which is us. They don't go to school or anything like that where they're learning something else and coming back home. We are only the environment. They pick up cues from us. So either we're pseudo training them or we're genuinely putting in effort to train them. That is our choice of how we would want to go. Okay,
And I have another question if there's time.
no problem. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. So, we are a household of three people, me, my husband, and my mother-in-law. And during the day, my dog is with my mother-in-law pretty much. Okay, she's used to the routine of us going to work, and she's spending the time at home. But in the evening, when either of us or both of us try to go out, she will whine and howl and basically create all emotional drama around it. If, while my mother-in-law is still at home, so she's not absolutely left alone, but she's there. But it's just the two of us going out. So, and we've tried this a couple of times, but the whining, howling continues, goes on. So, is there what is it that we can do to address this?
So in this situation, again, we teach them that learn from my behavior. See, separation is happening both ways, right? Separation is happening from your end and her end. But how is it possible that you are so calm during separation and she's so anxious, right? Unless you are also anxious and she's also anxious, then you know where she's learned this from, right? So a lot of times when we leave our dogs home, we say, sorry, baby, I'm leaving. I have to go, promise I'll come back and everything, right? She doesn't understand the words. She understands my tone, and my energy is filled with stress, with guilt, and with anxiety, right? For no purpose at all. I'm just going to meet my friend. Imagine when dogs are born, you may see stray dogs, right, on the street. The mother will be there. She'll have like 6 to 7 puppies with her. None of them are on a leash, none of them are in a crate or chained or anything, right? Not even in a confined space. They're all open. From the day that they are born, she has to leave them where they are and go out to hunt. Imagine if she stays with them saying that, oh, my kids, what if something happens to them when I'm not there? Then who will be responsible? No. If she does that, she'll starve. She can't give milk. They'll also starve and everyone will die. So the nature itself is created in a way where she puts them in a safe environment and lets them know that, I'm here. I'm not going to do anything. And plus the puppies are born deaf and they're born blind, right? So the only way they recognize their mother is through the nose, and they only follow the mother. So imagine how much trust they have on the mother that yes, she's going to keep me safe. So then even when she goes hunting and she comes back, they know that they're in a safe spot. They don't need to go anywhere else. So same thing with our dogs. We need to tell them that us going in and out is the most normal thing in the world, and the only way to prove that is by actually normalizing it in the house. So I would say continue going out, but while you go out, I would want you to tell her where you're going, when are you coming back, how are you going, every single information. Imagine every time you go out, you just step out, right? Your family will say, Are, where did Ruchi go? She didn't even tell us where she's gone. When is she going to be back? Who is she gone with? So that's how it is with our dogs. There's no sort of information that we give them just because we feel like, Are, how does it matter? But they also want to know, na, they're part of the family. So tell them everything, tell your dog everything, and then leave and then come back. Trust me, your dog knows exactly. If you say 1 hour, that means coming back in 1 hour. She'll wait 1 hour later at the door because she knows 1 hour is over. So that way, let her know there is absolutely zero guilt for you to feel when you go meet your friends, when you go for a haircut, do whatever you want to do. That's completely on you, because you are just a part of your dog's life and your dog is just a part of your life. If you make each other both your lives, now it's going to be very cute that yes, me and my dog, and forget the world. But 3 years from now, when you miss your friend's wedding, when you miss some other important event, or when you just genuinely miss a vacation, then the first thing that will come to your head is, because of you I couldn't go for the vacation. And your dog is going to look back at you and be like, listen, not my fault, it is you didn't train me at the right time. So then whose fault is it ultimately, right? We are the ones who are making them so dependent on us.
So, and what is the strategy that the person who's left behind at home
Nothing, ignore.
Like, see, during the day, it's absolutely fine because both of us go for work. She's here almost 8 hours by herself. It's just the evening hours. I don't know if it's something to
Correct.
do with the hours
Maybe because
or coming and going.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not used to us coming and then going. So,
Yes, because with the work she's used to, right? You've done it so many times that it's become like second nature for her. So do the same thing with the evening bit also. Normalize it to such a high extent that even if you go for a trip and don't come back for 4-5 days, she still knows that you're going to be back. You just let her know when you're going to be back. That's it.
mhm. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you so much. Yeah.
Problem. No problem.
Thank you, Divya, for such an amazing session. And thank you all guys for signing up. And Splood also organizes puppy basics and dog obedience training sessions. Anyone who is interested can DM on Splood's Instagram app. And for any more doubts, please, you can either contact me or Garima. Anyway,
And
thank
yes.
thank you all.
No problem. And I just wanted to add, if any of you would like to get in touch with me personally, you can always follow us on our Instagram page, All Yours for Animals. I keep sharing training tips and everything over there. So you can have a look. And if there is anything that you need my help in, you can always reach out and we're happy to help. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so
So
much.
much.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.